Hey guys, today I'm going to be filming my wrap up for hashtag TBR Takedown 4.0 and let's get started. So if you've seen the last couple videos of mine, you'll know that I've been obsessed with Hamilton. So it is no surprise that the first thing that I read was the Hamilton. I finished it on, I think it was Sunday night or Monday night, I don't remember, but it was early on in the readathon. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, if that readathon hadn't been happening, I probably would have just reread this. So I'm probably gonna do that this week. We'll see. And I used this for a book for my most recent haul. I used another one for it as well, just so it didn't look like I was cheating because of my obsession with Hamilton, but yeah. Next, I read a book, an unread sequel on my shelf, and for that I read Lois Lane Double Down by Gwenda Bond. And I loved this book. I love this series so much, and I'm so excited that I think Gwenda Bond's going to be announcing a third book soon, hopefully, because I don't think they have rights to it yet or something like that, or when it's going to come out. But I love the romance in this book so much. It's so cute what Lois and Smallville Guy in their chat rooms and the way they converse and that they can speak in this virtual reality world is how they see each other because he won't admit to who he is. And it's just the cutest romance ever, and I'm so excited for another book from this series. I was really excited to finally read this one. Next, I read a book from my most recent haul, and I could have counted it for first book in a series, but I read another one for that, so that was Amulet, but I'm sure you guys have seen this around. It's got beautiful artwork. Open a page there. And I really liked it. I read it really fast, probably in like 15 or so minutes, but it was just really fast paced and it was really interesting. I like the world that was introduced in this, so I'm excited to get my hands on the rest of this series. And then I reached the point in the week where I was just not interested in two of the books that I had picked for my TBR, which was Night by Eli Wiesel and Arena by, I think, Karen Hancock, which Night I just wasn't in the mood for. Like, it was too serious of a subject matter for me at where I was in the week with my obsession with Hamilton. It just didn't click well in my brain. So I immediately put that one down. But Arena I actually started and I just really didn't like the writing style, which was really depressing because it kind of sounded like an interesting, like, otherworld sci-fi thing, but the writing, I couldn't do it. I got maybe 30 pages in and was like, I have to put this down or I'm not going to get anything else read this week. So instead of Arena for on my bookshelf for every year, I picked up a different one. I picked up Divine Sight by Edwarda Amondragon? I don't know. It's really short. I've had it for a long time. Ow, I hit myself in the face with it. I got it in a Goodreads giveaway sometime either last year or the year before. Like, I've had it for a really long time. And it was okay. I think I gave it 3 stars. I liked the, like, Mexican-American cultural side of it because the little girl in this is Mexican-American and you see a lot of the culture of, like, her family and stuff. So I like that aspect of it, but the writing wasn't fantastic or anything, and it was kind of just a jumble of a bunch of different things that happened to her when she was little, so it was okay. I'm glad I read it. And then next, for Out of My Comfort Zone, this was kind of cheating because okay, listen, it's Ellen, who I've read one of her books before, but I chose it for Out of My Comfort Zone because 1, I love Ellen, and 2, it is nonfiction, and nonfiction is a little bit out of my comfort zone, and it's kind of a memoir, which is also out of my comfort zone, so I counted it. But it was funny, I was reading this, and in this book, this came out in 2011, she was talking about, and really passive-aggressively complaining about how Finding Nemo never got a sequel, which was really funny for me to read because I was literally going to see Finding Dory that night that I was started this book, so I was cracking up, and Finding Dory, by the way, was fantastic. But I just really loved this. It was just as funny as I expected it to be because, come on, it's Ellen. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I'm glad that I read it during the week because I was starting to get a little slumpy and I was really nervous that I wasn't going to be able to finish out this readathon. And then lastly, I decided to read Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo because it was originally on my TBR, and even though I didn't have to read it because I could have counted Amulet for a first book in a series, I decided I probably should, because otherwise I don't know when I would have gotten to this. I was kind of surprised on my feelings for this book because I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. Like, I did like it. I thought the characters were interesting, and it's a beautiful book, and I am gonna read the sequel, Crooked Kingdoms, when it comes out. But I wasn't, like, absolutely obsessed with the world or anything like a lot of people were. Like, I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this series, and I believe I gave it 4 stars. Just because there were parts that were kind of slow, and I don't know if that's my fault for not understanding some of the world for having, because I haven't read the Grisha trilogy, or if I was getting slumpy or what it was, but there were parts of this that I was actually kind of bored. And I think a lot of it is I didn't like 2 of the characters in our cast of 6 characters because they were getting on my nerves. And if you're curious, I'm not going to say any spoilers, but I didn't like Matthias, however you pronounce it, and I didn't really like Nina. So if you're fans of them, I'm so sorry. But I did really enjoy Kaz. Like, Kaz was definitely my favorite out of this group of people, and Inej was really interesting too. So I really enjoyed it for the most part. I just wasn't blown away like most of BookTube seems to be by this book. So that was the last book that I read for the readathon, and it was for the challenge of first book in a series. Those are all the books that I read this week for hashtag TBR Takedown 4.0. I didn't do as great. I mean, it looks like I read a lot, but normally I read more, or I'm more involved in, like, on Twitter and stuff for sprints this week, but because of my Hamilton obsession, I was just not on Twitter all this week. Like, I very rarely looked at anything other than Hamilton things. So that's everything that I read this week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.